I think I need a haircut. What do you think? Do I need a haircut? Hello there, I'm Simon. Welcome to my channel. Today's topic is a Disney theory. More specifically, I'm gonna debunk a Disney theory. You see, there's a very popular theory going around connecting two classic Disney films, namely Frozen and Tarzan. Yeah, doesn't seem like there's any link, does it? I myself first heard of it through the Super Carlin brothers. The theory goes thus. As you'll remember, at the beginning of Frozen, the parents of Anna and Elsa, King Agnar and Queen Iduna, leave on a ship for whatever reason. According to one theory, they were actually on their way to Rapunzel's wedding, but let's give this theory a fighting chance and pretend that's not true. Now, as we know, that ship went down, apparently killing Agnar and Iduna. Or did it? This theory states that they did not in fact die on that ship. They supposedly made their way to an island where they built a treehouse and had a kid. A kid that would grow up to be Tarzan. At least that's what Frozen co-writer and co-director Chris Buck said. Yeah, at first glance that might seem plausible, but when you think about it, it really doesn't. Not at all. In fact, when I rewatched Tarzan in preparation for this video, which is a great film by the way, I had forgotten how good it is. But before I rewatched it, I already knew that I had a good case to make here. I didn't realize how easy it would be. So let's get debunking. Let's start by considering where these movies actually take place. Now, Frozen takes place in Arendelle, which, believe it or not, is an actual place in Norway. Admittedly, it's not quite spelled the same way, but I think they sound a little too similar to be coincidental. I'm just going to assume for a moment that they're basically the same. So I think it's fair to say that Frozen takes place in Norway, or at the very least somewhere in Scandinavia. I'm sticking with Norway. But where does Tarzan take place? Well, based on background clues from the movie, I'm guessing it's somewhere with a jungle with gorillas and elephants, and with a sea close by. With that information, it should be possible to figure out where exactly this takes place. But I'm not going to, because I don't need that sort of accuracy. If you want to know it exactly, ask MatPat. All I need to know is that Tarzan takes place somewhere in Africa. I know this because during the whole Strangers Like Me montage, which is a great song, the porters teach Tarzan about geography, and they do it using a map of Africa. Also, in the beginning of the movie, one of the elephants is heard saying the words, "There are no piranhas in Africa." So I think it's safe to assume that this takes place somewhere in Africa. That said, what in the name of Zeus's overactive lightning bolt are Agnar and Iduna doing in Africa? It's a bit far from Norway, isn't it? Especially if you believe that they were on their way to Rapunzel's wedding, which admittedly takes place in the kingdom of Corona. Not that one. No, the country. Thank you. Which is in an undisclosed location. But since Rapunzel is a German fairy tale, theorists usually assume it's somewhere near Germany. If that's true, then they were taking one hell of a detour. But yeah, I guess that doesn't technically disprove it. It just makes it extremely unlikely. But wait, there's more. Let's talk a little bit about the timing of these movies. And I'm not talking about like narrative timing, I'm talking about the chronological timing. Like, when do these movies actually take place? Because I have a feeling that there might be a little too much time between the two for this theory to be realistic. Now, how on earth are we gonna determine that? Well, in Tarzan, at a certain point, the animals are all raiding the human camp, and end up having a jam session with all their stuff. Now, one of the things they play with is the horn of what looks an awful lot like a phonograph. Interesting, because this gives us what's called a terminus postquem, aka the time after which this must have happened. Because obviously they can't have had a phonograph with them before it was invented. Now, the phonograph was revealed to the public in 1888 of the Common Era, so it must take place after 1888. And when the Porters are about to leave with Tarzan, Daddy Porter talks about how excited everyone will be to meet him. And he mentions a couple of names, like Kipling, Darwin, and Queen Victoria. Now here's the thing. Queen Victoria died in 1901 CE, giving us a terminus antiquem. Tarzan takes place between 1888 and 1901. What about Frozen? When does that take place? Well, at first I thought this would be really hard to figure out, mainly because I haven't seen it in a while, especially not with the goal of figuring out when it takes place. Probably should have done that actually. But then I remembered Google exists, and I figured I might as well have a look, on the off chance that someone had already worked this out. That was a good call. Turns out there's an entire Disney fandom wiki, because of course there is, and it turns out that the short film Frozen Fever features a map, which is dated in Roman numerals 1840, which is honestly quite a bit later than I thought it would be. But it's still a bit early, because that would mean that Tarzan, if he is born before the shipwreck, which he is, will be in his late 40s by the time of his own movie. Okay, he's wearing his age well. But I saved the best for last, which is the parents. Take a closer look at Tarzan's parents. Look at their clothes. Do they look royal to you? Because keep in mind, according to this theory, these people are also the king and queen of Arendelle, so you'd expect them to be wearing some more royal clothes. Obviously, the ship is going down, so what you're wearing is not the biggest problem, but still, they would be wearing what they were wearing at that time, or at least what they have closest by, which would be royal clothes, which these are not. Also, when you watch that scene, you'll clearly see that the ship is on fire. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I can't seem to remember that from Frozen. Another point I want to talk about is that the movie Tarzan is an adaptation of a book called Tarzan of the Apes. So much so that they put it in the credits, which I don't think they did with any of their other movies. The reason I bring it up is because in the movie, his parents don't actually get much of a backstory, or even a name, so they could be called Agnar and Iduna. But in the book, they very much do. In the book, Tarzan's parents are called John and Alice, wait for it, Clayton. Yeah, like that Clayton. Also, in their cabin, there is a photo of them with a baby. Now, they are dressed fine, but not exactly royally. But my point is that this picture was clearly taken before they left, and Tarzan is on it, meaning he was born before they left. But if that's the case, how come we don't see him in Frozen? And why aren't Anna and Elsa in that picture? Okay, let's assume then that they did arrive at the wedding and stayed in Corona for many months, long enough for Tarzan to be born and that picture to be taken. Then they went on the way back home for their new baby to meet his sisters. But when they sailed by Africa, for whatever reason, their ship went down. That's the story you want me to believe. Okay then. One more thing though. Look at them. Look at them. You really want me to believe that these are the same people? Yeah. No. They look nothing alike. They don't even have the same color of hair. Now obviously they're animated in a completely different style, but still. Even then you can make them look at least a little bit alike. If you don't believe me, look at that scene from Wreck-It Ralph 2, where they animate all the classic princesses in the 3D style. And they're all recognizable. So don't you tell me that these are the same people, because I won't believe it for a second. Also, have you seen Frozen 2? Have you? Because I haven't. Is it good? Okay, full disclosure. I myself actually haven't seen it yet, but I do know that it completely disproves this theory, because in it, the sisters actually find their parents' boat, or ship, I don't know, and it did not shipwreck by Africa. And through the magic of water memory, because apparently water has memory, we actually see their parents die. And it's in a shipwreck, not in Africa, killed by, what was it, a tiger? And now even this Chris Buck guy has since stated that it's not true. Well, thanks Sherlock. There was no way it could be true. So yeah. Theory debunked. If you ever see anyone trying to spread it, just send them this video. And now it's time for the YouTube thing. You know the drill. Comment, like, subscribe, share, ring the bell, and take a look in the description box below to find the links to my socials. Does anyone actually call them that? Social media. You know what I mean. That'll do. Thanks for watching.